Hello, friends. Happy Friday. I've got some haunted bookshop going in the Matches Memorial Friday 7 Ellie, as is the tradition here. And my Friday is off to a great start. I hope your weekend is off to a great start. Really looking forward to spending a bit of time with you all tonight. I missed you last week, and it's good to be back. So let's see who we've got hanging out with us so far. I saw there's Big Dave, Jeffrey Feinberg, Kevin Doolin, John Amadon. Great to see you folks this evening. There's Piper on the 45. Yeah, I see Big Dave's talking about Phil the Groundhog there. We'll talk about him some. Chris Weber, how you doing, Chris? Pipeful, good to see you, Andrew. And Signalman Tony from Rhode Island. Fantastic. So, yeah, you know, that darn groundhog that is never right. He predicted an early spring this year, which makes me think we're going to be getting horrible weather. But oddly enough, it's been remarkably spring-like this past week. I don't know what's going on. For February, it's just been bizarrely mild weather. We've been in the 50s most day. Tomorrow, it's going to be close to 60 degrees. I think we're going to get up to like 58 degrees in mid-February. That's absolutely crazy for this part of the world. Michael Case, trying to smoke his last ounce of tobacco before Ash Wednesday. Oh, Michael, you're giving up the pipe for Lent. That is impressive, my friend. I wish you all the best with that. Hope you have a blessed Lent. Lurker Troy, good to see you, Troy. Pipe Writer, happy Friday to you, sir. No, Andrew, I considered it. We might have had to have been broadcasting from a remote location because the cricket took over, but so far so good on the cricket front. I'll tell you how I think I got rid of him. There's my buddy Poem, Hubba Bubba. Bona Piper, good to see you, Christian. Hope you're back and well rested from your travels. And there's Backcountry Pipe. Good to see you, Mark. Groundhog is probably a delicacy somewhere, Big Dave. I got a funny story about that, but much to speak about. I'm gonna forget. I got to talk to you about the crickets. I got to tell you about the haunted bookshop because this is a shocking ball of haunted bookshop for me. And I'll tell you the groundhog story really fast because it's kind of funny. I had an Italian uh, postdoc who was actually from Sicily, and she came here to Pennsylvania, and it was her first year in Pennsylvania. She really did not like cold weather, and we're walking across the campus where I work in February. It's cold. It's like the week after Groundhog Day, and she's complaining about the weather. I think it was snowing, and how cold it is and everything. And I said, well, you heard what the groundhog said, and she had no idea what I was talking about because she was not aware of the whole tradition and all that. So I explained it to her, and I said, so if he sees a shadow, it's 6 more weeks of winter. And unfortunately, this year, the groundhog saw his shadow. And this little short, fiery, red-headed Italian woman looked at me with absolute anger in her eyes, and she clenched her fist, and she was trembling as she said to me, I am going to find this groundhog, and I am going to choke the life out of it. And yeah, I'll never forget the look in her eyes. She was dead serious. She was going to kill that poor groundhog. So maybe groundhog is a delicacy in Sicily, Big Dave. Oh, Michael Case, I didn't mean it that way, but I understand. Groundhog stew. Why not, Lurker Troy? Put anything in a stew. Well, never mind. I didn't say that. So Kevin's got some haunted bookshop in his new Briarwork C101 author. Nice. And there's the Urban Hermit thanking me for buying. I did not buy all the haunted bookshop, Everett. I bought some of the haunted bookshop. There was still haunted bookshop for sale after I bought it. That's why I posted on your Instagram feed that it was on sale so that you would know to go get it. I did not buy it all. I bought some. There's Doug Owen. How you doing, Doug? People, Everett, gets mad at me when I buy haunted bookshop, but the truth is, I don't buy any other tobacco. It's the only tobacco I buy. And it's out of stock a lot these days. So when it comes back in stock, I buy enough so that I have it until the next time it comes back in stock. It's not my fault that they're not making enough. Don't yell at me. We know who to yell at, Everett, and we're going to go visit that boy. Gary Edminster, how you doing, Gary? So I did order haunted bookshop. So I was down to my last bag, and I thought, well, this isn't good because it was out of stock. Now, granted, I have a lot of haunted bookshop sellers, but I do that because I'm going to retire someday, and I want to be able to save money by having it in the cellar. So I try not to tap into that. So, Doug, I do not buy it by the pallet load. That's silly. You know how many pallets fit on a truck? So, okay, so Everett actually knew it was on sale. Oh, see, Everett, you had plenty of time. No, I don't think it was on sale. Well, maybe it was a different sale, Lurker Troy, but that 20% off sale just happened whatever day that was, yesterday or the day before. Glad to hear you're fine, Gary. I don't count, Doug. So anyway, what am I talking about? Haunted bookshop for sale. Oh, so I have plenty cellared and all that, but I buy, so if I buy 2 pounds, 1 pound of it goes into jars, and the other pound I smoke until it's gone, and then I buy another 2 pounds. And we're using the number 2 here as an example. I'm not saying that I always buy 2 pounds. So I had one bag that had not been cellared, and I hadn't opened it yet, and I thought, well, it's out of stock. I don't want to go smoking through this and not have it. So I decided that I wasn't going to tap into that until it became available. And in desperation, I made some Haunted Bookshop. Yeah, I made that myself. I have these blending tobaccos, some of which are quite old and dry. And I thought, well, I know what I like about Haunted Bookshop. So it's got Red Virginia. So I got some Red Virginia, and I had some long leaf, long cut Virginia, something like that. I put that in because I knew there was some non-red in there. And then I cube cut burley and granulated perique, and I mixed it up, and I put some water in it because it was dry, and I let it sit overnight. And you know what? It's not even close to Haunted Bookshop, but it's smokable and good, because it's only got stuff in it that I like. So I encourage you to play with that if you've got the time and the resource, because if you know what you like, if you put those things together, you're probably going to wind up with something you like. It's hard to mess it up. Now, if you start adding in weird stuff and flavorings and all that, who knows what you come up with. But so I get a notification from a friend of mine who I won't name because I don't want him to get into trouble, that it had gone on sale, that smoking pipes had 20% off sale. And I thought, well, I just looked this morning and it was out of stock. But better check, right? Oh, Gary Edminster's filling his Peterson house pipe with vanilla custard and having some coffee. Very nice. I didn't mean 4 pounds couch. I was just using 2 as an example. It doesn't produce copious amounts of thick white smoke, Big Dave. Sorry about that. Benjamin Lindsay, good evening. Capstan Blue, very nice, and a Peterson Canadian. I hope it's not those RYO people, Michael. Yeah, Doug, you don't want to start a run on Capstan. All right, so anyway, I get this notification from a friend of mine that there's a 20% off sale, and I say, oh, what the heck? Let me go check. And I look, and sure enough, Haunted Bookshop is now in stock. So this was like 3 hours after it was not in stock. Placed my order, still plenty of Haunted Bookshop there, and I immediately went and informed Everett. Eric, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you tonight. Homemade Haunted Bookshop is a lot like homemade beer or wine. It is, John. No, I don't even want to call it homemade Haunted Bookshop. It was just, I just wanted to make the point that if you know what you like in a blend, you can probably get reasonably close enough that you would be happy, So if ever I can't get it, I know how to make it. Furnace is going to come on. Apologies. So where the heck was I? I was drinking. I've got an interesting beer for you tonight. You'll notice that it's a bit lighter than what I've been drinking lately. Bona Piper's also having some Capstan Blue and a J Mouton. Very nice. With some Baileys on the rocks. Sounds like a wonderful evening, Christian. Kevin Doolan's very generously offering coupon codes for pipes and cigars if anybody wants one. Voodoo, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you tonight. Voodoo shows up right on cue as I'm about to start talking about the beer. So yes, that is lighter than what I usually drink, and it's not exactly what I would call a seasonal blend. So, well, it is a seasonal blend. It's just the wrong season, but fitting for this weather we're having. So I went to the beer distributor, which is what we here in Pennsylvania do when we need beer. I'm still trying to find that Guava Cart beer, but I will find it. And I'm not going to go back to Wegmans to get it. And I'm looking up and down the aisles, and I come across this, and it was on sale, and I thought, I've had this weird thing going on with like guava and mango beers, and I'm almost embarrassed to show you this. It's Is it Bongo? Yeah, Bongo Fizz by Yingling. Look at that. Look at that. How could you not want to buy that? It's got a dog and a parrot sitting on a beach. It is a mango flavored beer. And I believe that's all it said. I don't even think it claims to be like a lager. Premium beer with natural mango flavor. Made by Yingling. The makers of, Yingling. Good stuff, right? It's not good. It's not bad. I will drink it, and it would be probably a very nice beer to have on a summer day. If you just want to have a beer and not feel it, but it's got some it's natural mango flavor, so it's very flavorful. But in terms of the beer, I don't think you could tell this is much different from like a mango flavored seltzer. It's fizzy. I think it's got all of like 4.5% alcohol. But I got it cheap. I think I got a 12 pack. It's something different. So let's see. Andrew Sirigliano, forget if I said hello to you or not, but happy Friday, sir. Gary Ebenster pointing out that Half and Half produces copious amounts of white smoke. Did you get that, Big Dave? Maybe give that a try. Backcountry Pipes having some Peterson Irish Flake tonight. Very nice. That's good stuff, Mark. Yes, Eric, I don't know that I want one, but I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. Oh, okay, Everett. Have a great time. Say hi to Dad for us, buddy. Enjoy the movie. White Ash Piper squared. Having roasted burley in the 673860. Sounds good there, White Ash. The Smooth Piper. How you doing, Peter? Good to see you tonight. Brian Dawkins. Just finished lunch, a steak and kidney pie. Fantastic. And yeah, what could go better with that than Old Speckled Hen? My buddy, the Durham Duke, turned me on to that, and I had trouble finding it, but I did eventually run into it in a restaurant, and it's very nice stuff. Benjamin, I think the better question, or the easier to answer question would be: is there anyone here that's not addicted to buying pipes? Oh, Doug, I don't really want a Dunhill lighter. It just Eric was looking at one, and I said, they're fussy and they take a weird flint and stuff, but I get it. I wouldn't mind having one myself someday, but I don't have any current aspirations. I haven't really looked at them. The Smooth Piper's got some Haunted Bookshop in his Friday 7, Ellie. Good stuff. It's a good point, Gary. How do you define that addiction? I mean, if you're just buying, one every couple of months, maybe 2 or 3 a year, that's probably not an addiction. That's just maintaining your rotation, right? Whereas if you're somebody like Armchair Piper Ed, you got a problem. Peter Stokeby's no longer in production, White Ash? That seems to have come out of the blue. Oh, that one blend you're talking about, not the entire line. Okay, gotcha. So the roasted burley. I have had that. Was it roasted or toasted? It was toasted burley that I had. I can't remember. But oh, Andrew, that sounds terrible. That has never happened to me. A wax buffing wheel explode at speed. Man. It must have been a heck of a mess. I'm sorry, it could have probably been very, very dangerous too, but I've just had, you've probably used the rake on them and, clean them. And man, the mess that makes, you're just covered in strands and they're floating in the air and everything. I can only imagine if one exploded. My goodness. But I'm glad you're able to laugh at it. Couch got another J Mouton pipe. Speaking of addictions, huh? Couch has one of the nicest collection of J Moutons, and I'm very proud that I've got a few twin pipes with him from that collection. Big Country Briar, how's it going, Cole? Thanks for the advice, Doug. Yeah, I've heard good things about the Caribe lighters as well. Yeah. Well, did you see that, Eric? Did you see Doug's advice there on the Dunhill? That's the way to look at it, Pipeful. You're adopting the pipes. Yes, you're giving them a home, keeping them off the streets. Okay, White Ash. Toasted makes more sense, and that's good stuff. It's a shame they're not making it anymore. I had definitely had that. That's interesting. Craft breweries in Portland are closing down. Young people are going to hard drinks. Doesn't bode well. I think that's the way it tends to go, Brian, where you start off just buying everything and then you sort of fall into your favorites. WKR Piper, yes, I plan to definitely be in Columbus this year. Absolutely. There's Armchair Piper. Sorry, Ed, I had to pick on you. It's not a problem. You're right. You're right. There's Texas Piper Eddie. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Okay, so Eric's saying the Corona Old Boy is the way to go. The Caribbees are not that great in his experience. White Ash is saying the same. Corona Old Boy vote from Voodoo. I'm just happy with the Zippos. Gary, that is brilliant. When you don't need to smoke the same pipe for a year, you might have enough. That is brilliant. Because that could cover a collection of two pipes or 2,000. I like that. So I've been doing an interesting experiment. I have an unknown number of pipes, and I have a set that I kind of consider my rotation, which are the ones that are easily accessible. And then I have some that are um, in a actually they're in an old cigar humidor that's not used for cigars anymore. That I had to put them somewhere, and that was a place to sort of consolidate them all. And I'll occasionally go into that for something like probably back in the middle of last year, I smoked one of the LL Bean pipes, so they're in that cigar humidor, so I had to get it out of there. Um, and then I've got like pipes scattered around down here that are I consider them shop pipes. Nothing wrong with them. I smoke them when I'm down here and not when I'm upstairs. And then I've got like a lot of estate pipes and pipes that people have given me and pipes that I've broken that I need to repair that are in boxes down here that I will someday get to or not. So I got a lot. I got more than I need, but that's not the point. It's not about what you need. It's about what you enjoy. But of these this first set, you know, the set that I kind of consider my rotation, I noticed there were a couple that I just wasn't smoking. You know, they're just sitting there. And oh, I also have a set of pipes that I've never smoked, which is another story altogether. And someday I'm going to get those together and do a video about them. But and some of them are just not smoked because I haven't gotten to them. Some of them are things that I don't know if I'll ever smoke for reasons, but we'll talk about that another time. So I started to do this experiment where I made a spreadsheet because I'm a geek, and I started making sure that I did not duplicate the pipes. And I haven't gotten through the whole list yet. I haven't gotten through them all yet. It's getting to the point where it's becoming difficult though, because the ones that are left are ones that I've avoided for reasons. Like there's one, it's a twin bore 7LE Prince, beautiful pipe, and I love it, but it's so hard to clean that twin bore stem. I've apparently gotten some pipe cleaner fluff stuck in it, and I can't get a good draw out of it, so I'm gonna have to, somewhere around here, I've got some Falcon pipe cleaners that I'm gonna have to find and get in there and clean that before I can smoke it. So anyway, that's something I've been doing tonight. And you'll see a pipe tonight that you probably have never seen because I just have been going through all these unusual sort of neglected pipes in my gathering. Benjamin saying Bics have never let him down. Bics are a perfectly fine solution. Voodoo's complaining about the flavor of the Zippo fluid. Some people taste it, some people don't. I've never noticed it. I know other people have said that they can't tolerate it, and other folks say they've never noticed it. So Texas Piper, he's going from 50 down to around 24. So that's a reasonable number, and that's a healthy attitude to have, Eddie. You know, if you see something you like, maybe even set a number, like 24 might be the number, maybe 30 or something. You say, okay, if I'm going to buy another one, I got to sell one. This way you can sort of maintain that level and still enjoy the occasional purchase. Chris Kahn, good evening. Good to see you, buddy. Voodoo wants to know what the vice behind me might be. This guy here. This is I don't know what it's called. I think it's called a carver's vise or something. So it rotates around, and then when you lock it down, it locks the rotation. You can also flip it and have it rotate around the other axis if you want. It's just really useful for stem making for me. I have a lot of little fixtures that I've made out of wood that I hold in that vise, and then I can put stems in them in different orientations and things. It's not tilted. It's actually straight up and down here, and this is the jaws open and closed like that. But it does rotate freely. And then if I put a piece of wood in it, I can rotate it this way, so I can get basically 360 degrees of rotation on a stem. There you go, Eddie. Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Go with one blend through all your pipes and see how they behave differently. Ron Hardcrackers, how you doing, Ron? Good to see you tonight. $23 and a half. Interesting, Brian. And Ron's of the see a pipe, buy a pipe strain. That's an approach too, Ron. Gary's got pipes and knives. My problem is the other thing that I gather, I flat out collect, are old tools, and they take up a lot more space than pipes. And but they're useful, like pipes. Yeah. You know, Big Country Briar, that's a good way of thinking about it. And sorry, Ed, I'm going to pick on you again. I figure as long as I have less pipes than Ed, I'm okay. Couch collects cats. That's much worse. Much, much worse. Yeah, Eric, definitely. Jason's been really cranking him out, and he's just. I mean, every time I see his pipes, I think, how's he gonna top this? And then the next set, he's got something that amazes me even more. He's really become quite a pipe maker. Old hammers, yes, Brian. I know quite a few folks that love old hammers. That's not my problem. My problem is saws and marking gauges, and no, I got a lot of problems. But hammers are not one of them. Yeah, that's the problem with having a lot of pipes, Eddie, is if you believe that you need to smoke them, 60, 70 times before they start to behave, then, you really, now, of course, if you're collecting them over a lifetime, that might not be a problem. Or, and I know that Ed does this, if you're buying estate pipes, then, somebody's already done that work for you. Todd Munson, good evening, my friend. Good to see you. Good point, Eric. Couch does diversify. Ah, the multi-tool problem. Yes, Gary. Yo, Billy Piper, how you doing, Donnie? Couch also collects 10 millimeter sockets. That's where mine have gone. You got to assume that somewhere there's a guy that has nothing but 10 millimeter sockets. I mean, it statistically has to happen, right? Well, folks, I believe I have already smoked through this haunted bookshop. Oh, wait, maybe I can do one more relight here. Because we are returning to that fun-filled thing we call the tobacco of the week this week. Yeah, there we go. I clogged it. Steph and Skip, how you doing, Steph? Good to see you tonight. And Skip, if you're out there, good to see you too. I don't mean to assume, but Steph and Skip is usually Steph. Yeah, I tamped a little too hard and stuck dash in the thing, so we'll just call that a loss. All right, so back of the week in a moment. I'm gonna pause for a moment or two. Let the old palate recover. Voodoo wants to know, who are we rooting for in the Super Bowl? I don't know. I mean, I just wonder if the folks in Kansas City are as bored of it as I am. I mean, it's the Chiefs are going to win. I don't know why anybody's even wasting time. The Chiefs are getting as annoying, and I'm saying this because Doug's on. The Chiefs are getting as annoying as the Patriots used to be. Michael, I am tomorrow morning. I am going to put the first coat on the basement wall. It's all prepped. It's ready to go. I even have the tarp laid out. So it's happening. It's definitely happening. Wow, Doug, that is amazing. Over 2,000. That pipe must smoke well, huh? I just so you know, I refuse to even recognize that this Swift person exists. I just recently found out that it wasn't a country western guy. I'm not kidding. I really thought when I heard the name, I thought it was a guy. I'm so out of the loop on this stuff, and I just don't care. And anybody that's that popular is probably in this modern world pretty crappy. So I'll just leave it at that. So now you can all be mad at me for saying the Super Bowl is a waste of time because the Chiefs are going to win and that I don't like the same thing that all the 14-year-old girls like. So with that, let's move on to the tobacco of the week where you can punish me. So we're going back to the box. I went through the box because we pulled everything out of it. I took out the furnace is going to go off. I took out the unmentionables that we're never going to smoke again. And we're left with 4 blends. And I'm just going to pull out the first 3 that come to hand, and you guys can vote on them. Don't start voting until I get through all of them, because otherwise I can't count, and it makes it much more difficult. And maybe we'll wait until the furnace ends, huh? Just so I'm not yelling. Oh, that sounds like a nice pipe, Doug. Wow, White Ash, you're a man of principle. I probably skipped a year or two after that. I did the same thing with baseball after the big baseball strike. When was that? Was it in the 90s? Later, late 80s, mid 90s, something like, yeah, it was like mid 90s, wasn't it? Okay, Couch, the box is named Couch. While I'm waiting for the furnace to go off, I'll tell you what happened to the cricket, which was also named Couch. In, ca- in case you didn't see, on Sunday, I had this enormous insect in my basement. Was it an Australian humpback cricket or camelback cricket? Asian camelback cricket. These things they're huge. I'm not kidding. It was about 3 inches. If you look at the legs from tip to tip, it was 3 inches. They look like crickets, giant crickets with giant spider legs on them, and they jump. And the son of a guns jump at you if you spook them, which I did not realize and found out the hard way. So I was terrified of this thing. And the problem was it was sitting under my desk, and I'd like chase it away, and then I'd go do something. I'd come back, it would be back in the same spot. And it was really bothering me. So while I was making the video on Sunday, it was actually sitting down there staring at me. It stayed there for a long time throughout the day. And I've been trying, again, I didn't have any haunted bookshop. Well, I had it, but I wasn't going to open the new bag until I could order more. And so I was trying to smoke up odds and ends, and I went into this bag of stuff, and I found this, and it was only about an ounce of haunted pirate ship, which you know how much I loved that. And it was very dry, and I put some in the pipe that I was smoking in, and it was awful because it was dry and everything. And I was looking down at the cricket, and it's just staring at me, and I took a pinch of it, and I threw it at the cricket. And I hit it. There's still haunted pirate ship sitting on the floor where the cricket was. But it just continued to stare at me, which scared me enough that I went upstairs and didn't come back down for the rest of the day. The next morning, it was gone, and I haven't seen it since. So I think the Latakia just, yeah. They are nasty, Andrew, and apparently they're becoming much more common in our area. It was 94 when the MLB went on strike. Okay, Couch. So yeah, I think it was about 2 years before I got back into baseball after that. Ah, Eric named his new torque wrench after Couch. That's nice. I'm not froze, Gary. I don't know if anybody else has me froze. Mormon crickets. I'm afraid to ask, Lurker Troy. Yeah, John, that's a big problem too. Although they at least seem to have taken the spotlight off of that. So, but yeah, that put me off quite a bit. Good for you, White Ash. Good for you. Hey, Voodoo served with one of Couch's relatives. That's cool. No, the dogs do not come down here, Couch. They don't do steps. I did read that one of the best ways to get rid of these. By the way, people call them sprickets because they look like a cross between spiders and crickets. One of the best way to get rid of sprickets is cats because apparently the cats will eat them, but they don't eat the legs. So people that have a lot of them have to go sweeping up legs. Again, if I see, I told my wife if I see two of these, we're moving. There's no question about it. Patrick Grant, good to see you, buddy. A lot of key is the bully, Eddie. You know, Eric, I think you're making a joke about an actual leather couch, but if you knew somebody named Leather Couch, that would be hilarious. And if I was Voodoo's friend whose last name was Couch, I'd be very tempted to name my firstborn Leather. It's one of the reasons I don't have kids. I would have come up with ridiculous names for them. You know, Bona Piper, it was the first time in my life I actually considered I might need a cat. No, 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 Couch, no. I'm telling you, it would be the simplest explanation for the existence of those things, White Ash, is that they did escape from Area 51. I mean, if you don't know what these things look like, just take a minute and Google camelback cricket. That should get it for you. These things they're creepy, disturbing, and huge. That's all you. And they keep in mind when you look at it, they jump at you. Oh, Doug. White Ash, are they like a ginger snap kind of cookie? Ivan's spiced wafer sounds familiar. I was in its seat. Might be, Pum. Might be. Neil Day, a flint napper. That is cool. Yeah, so you get a rock collection out of that, huh? That is cool. Not as bad or ugly as a potato bug, maybe, but they're much bigger than a potato bug, White Ash. At least the potato bugs I'm familiar with. Oh, Codger Jim, that must have been a very sad man. Oh, Phil, that's terrible. YouTube's screwing with us again. I'm glad you found me. Okay, it's done. So let's do the tobacco of the week. There we go. Gotta think for a minute there. So again, I got four left. We're gonna just pick out the first three here. I'm not looking at them as I pull them out, and we'll do them in order: number one, number two, number three. But don't vote until I get through all three, otherwise I won't be able to count them up. Number one, Quorum. Number two, Frenchie's Sons of Bitches. The blend that makes me feel like I need to go to confession. And number 3, choosing randomly between the 2 remaining ones, Bill Bailey's Balkan Blend. So number 1 is Quorum, number 2 is Frenchie, number 3 is Bill Bailey. What's it going to be? Yes, they're also called cave crickets. Or they're a type of cave cricket. I think there's more than one cave cricket out there. I got a weird feeling that I've already done the Bill Bailey, but I could be wrong. Okay, so we got 2 votes for Frenchie. 3 votes for Frenchie. Frenchie's running away with it. Couch, you can't vote for Clan. We got a vote for... We got 1 vote for Quorum, 1 vote for Bill Bailey, 3 for... we got a lot coming in for Frenchie, though, and Chris is going to give me absolution, so I feel much better about that. Oh boy, 3's coming up strong. But I think... Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh no. We've got a tie. We got a tie between Bill Bailey and Frenchie. Oh, potato bugs are not roly-poly bugs? Okay, I was thinking of roly-poly bugs, White Ash. I'll have to look up potato bugs later. Got another vote for Frenchie. I did do Bill Bailey a couple weeks ago. All right, that sounded familiar. All right, you know what? I think Frenchie's got 1 up, and since we did Bill Bailey, there's another for French. Let's go with the Frenchie. I don't know what Quorum is, Doug. I don't know. Gary wants me to smoke Raid. What? Voodoo voted for Frenchie. Okay, we're gonna do Frenchie. And I don't look these up, so what I do is I smoke them. I'm gonna actually take Bill Bailey out of the mix, so I'll have to add something for next week's vote, because I thought I had smoked that. Okay, so this is a Hearth and Home blend. Frenchie's Sunza, Sunza, bitches, and this is from May of 2015. Let's open it up and see what we got here. It's a little crispy. That's okay. Boy, it's interesting. It's really big leaf there. And it's got a little... I hate to say this, it smells almost mapley. But not a lot of key, not Englishy. Yes, and thank you. Somebody said they saved, Michael, thank you for saving me from the lot of Kia. All right, so we are going to put this in the big boy. And there's a story behind this. And if you look closely, the stem on this does not fit. That's part of the story too. So this pipe, my wife actually bought this for me. The brand is Big Boy. The reason she bought it for me was that I had a pipe that I dearly loved before I met her. It was a Big Boy pipe. And it was a black meerschaum lined billiard. And it was stolen. I've told the story before. I'm only allowed to tell the story once a year, so I can't tell it right now. But it was stolen, and she felt bad for me, and she thought she had found the same pipe, which, you know, was really sweet of her. But she didn't know what meerschaum lined meant, and she just saw it was a Big Boy billiard. She went into a tinderbox and asked them, and they sold it to her. So I love the pipe because of that, but I broke the stem very quickly, and just snapped the shank. And then it sat around for a couple of years, and I got a replacement stem for it, and this was before I was making stems. So I fit the stem, I got everything, and like 2 weeks later, I snapped it again. So I eventually got a stem that I just jammed in there. This has not been properly fitted at all, and you can see the seam and all that. And it smokes, but it's not my favorite pipe because the stem is not comfortable and all that. So someday I'll make a stem for this and I'll enjoy it more. But right now, it is a little crispy SOB, yes. I'm glad it cleared up, Gary. Hopefully will keep the feed healthy for you. It does look a little bit like Presbyterian, doesn't it, Brian? Yeah. It is a huge pipe, and the big boy was a huge pipe. So, and I loved it because this was back in the days when I would walk back and forth to the University of Pittsburgh, and so I had like an hour walk, and I would fill that pipe up, and it would last me for the whole walk. I was once a big boy, Michael. Yes. All right, let's light this up and see what we got. And by the way, I filled it about halfway because I do want to try to rehydrate this a bit and before I smoke another bowl, just to give it its fair shake. Ooh, that's harsh. Probably because it's dry. Got me right in the back of the throat. I will definitely go with the Delrin Tenon fill. Just need to find the time to do it. I think it's just because it's such a big lever that I've dropped. The second time I dropped it, the first time I broke it, I had it in my pocket, so that was stupid. But the second time I dropped it and it snapped. It's not that heavy, Brian. I mean, it's probably about as heavy as it should be given the size of it, but it's not like silly heavy. Okay, the SOB jokes are not going to stop, are they? Hey, little Piper Todd, how you doing, buddy? This is odd. I don't know if it's because it's so dry. I'm getting very little out of this. It's burning hot, which isn't good. You have to really sip this. That was a good Julie Andrews film, Michael. Yeah, I can clench it. I don't know that I'd want to clench it for a long time. Bill says Frenchie's is a PNC blend. Yeah, I think it's Hearth and Home. It's Russ's line. And always reviewed as high nicotine. Hey, maybe you'll finally see me turn green. Yes, Cole. It's one dry, hot, odd SOB. Bourbon flavored Burley, Perique, and Virginia. Well, I can tell you there's no bourbon flavoring on this left because it's dry. So we're not going to get that. Which might be a blessing, really. So yes, Brian, it may have been an aromatic in its day, but when did I say this was from? 2015. Ah, there we go. Ron looked it up. Or he just knows this. Hearty bourbon-laced blend of broadcast Virginia, broadleaf maybe, and burley with a dose of Perique. You know, Doug, I had never realized it, but you're right. That is a Levada, isn't it? Huh. It is a big honking Levada. So they didn't even get the billiard part right for my wife. Gee. I'm not going to tell her that. Michael says all his marksman pipes are large. Huh. I don't have many marksmen, but mine are not that big, really. But I guess there was a range. The cricket may have gotten the bourbon, Doug. There's definitely a Quorum cigar, Doug. I don't know. I'm sorry, Phil, but I don't know if they're related. Wow, Piper on the 45. That's amazing. Sassini 4.7 inches long. My goodness. Yeah, that auto spells a son of a gun, Ron. Topped with Old Crow, says Lurker Troy. You need to stop drinking it. Yeah. Thank you, Peter. Now, I do like it. It's just because of the stem, I just don't smoke it very much. But it deserves a better stem than this, and I'll get to that someday. Udud says he's got a couple Mario Grande that are huge pipes. '45's in the 4 Dot Club, indeed. Doug, that is a massive pipe. Wow. Grabby icebergs. Could always be bigger, Phil. Yeah, definitely wider. Some of those Boswell pipes are huge. I'm odd in that, well, I'm odd for a lot of reasons, but I'm odd in that I like large bowl pipes, but I don't like them to be big and heavy. So that is it. The 7LE 622, I think that is one of my favorite shapes because it's got a nice big pot shaped bowl, but the walls are relatively thin on it. Furnace is kicking on again, um, and it smokes wonderfully. So this is definitely going to be need to be rehydrated. It's got there's Virginia, I could tell you that, but Everything else is just being swamped out by the heat. I'm afraid to relight this actually. So it's really not fair for me to even say I like this or don't like it because it's not at all what the blender intended. Either hire a person, Doug, or get yourself a custom-made wheelbarrow. Bayonet Briere. Its dad was a huge pipe. And Gary has a Barry Viking or Viking that's too big. Oh, that's cool, Michael. An intermission pipe. I remember when they would send you the samples, Cole, and they were never anything that I wanted to try. So here's a question. If I'm going to rehydrate this, should I rehydrate it with water and hope for the best, or should I go ahead and put some bourbon on it? Bigger ones are nice for reading, Gary. Yeah, I agree. Cole thinks I should go with bourbon. Or I could just rehydrate it with Bongo Fizz. Got votes for Scotch, rye whiskey. Phil's promoting the mold preventative properties of bourbon. Don't waste the bourbon. Good point, Michael. Drink the bourbon. Good point, Ed. Rich P1, good to see you, buddy. Canada Club. Oh my goodness. Oh, Brian didn't like that one. Okay. You know what? I only filled this halfway, thank God. And I'm hoping that I'm close to done. This is getting to the point where it's just going to scorch my tongue. And I'm not getting any flavor out of it at all. So we'll try rehydrating it either with water or a brown liqueur. Brown liquor, not liqueur. And we'll try it again on Sunday. But yeah, that was a disappointment. Oh well. Honestly, it might have been more of a disappointment if it was fresh from the, fresh pouch that actually had the topping on it. Wow, Voodoo, that sounds like an interesting blend there. Soaked it in. So did you soak it in the scotch before you pressed it, Voodoo, or after you pressed it? Yeah, if I rehydrate it with Everclear, it'll certainly burn fast, Gary. Ron, I agree with you. I've tried that burley without a bite stuff, and it bites like crazy. I don't understand why anybody likes it. Yeah, you know what, guys? I, I hate to I hate to say this, but that stuff is bad enough that I don't think rehydrating it's gonna. I mean, even if it's smokable, it's not gonna be the blend that it's supposed to be. So I think that's gonna become mulch, or maybe it'll become if the spricket comes back, I can throw it at the spricket. So I'm probably not gonna smoke that on Sunday. Smooth Piper's going on to Haunted Bookshop. Oh, he's finished the Haunted Bookshop. He's going Captain Black Gold in a basket pipe. All right. WC Fields is, yeah. Hey, Troy, if you want it, send me your address. I'll mail it to you. But I don't recommend it. And I'm not responsible. Well, we knew this was going to happen, right? It's going to be hit and miss. Sprickets will nest in it. You're right, Voodoo. And it might make them more welcome. Life's too short for bad tobacco or Christmas mint tobacco. Ha! Good one, Mark. Poem is chewing on an Avanti cigar. So one of the licorice flavored ones, Poem? Or anise flavored? Yeah, Doug. I know some of the quality's not great. Although there's a couple of blends that I do like. I mean, I really like their oh, what the heck was his boy, I'm completely blanking on this. Sabrani match that he made. He made a Balkan Sabrani match. Uh Dark House, which, granted, I'm not a big fan of that style of tobaccos, but I think that's not a bad one. Um, so yeah, there's a couple that I think are okay, but yeah, certainly the aromatics, I I wouldn't touch them. Well, I just did, but you know what I mean. Okay, just getting the flavors there, Foam. Gotcha. Just so you guys know, I didn't know why I was smoking the Christmas mint tobacco either. Yes, Black House was the blend booted. Huckleberry. Not familiar with that, Dan Robertson. Fusiliers ration is pretty good, Mark. Is that a Hearth and Home? Like, oh, you know what? I happen to have it's from the Marquis series though, Hearth and Home Marquis series. This is not Fusiliers ration. It's the tin that I put my fake haunted bookshop in. I think that was the worst SOB I've ever come across, Cole. Everybody's asking if I mean Black House. Did I? Yeah, I did. I did mean Black House. I don't remember what I called it, but Black House is what I was thinking of. Oh, did I call it Dark House? Yeah, I've got a tin of White Knights, Doug, and I've never tried it. I should maybe I'll find that and put it in the tobacco of the week rotation at some point. Oh, Cole, you missed the beginning where I talked about the fake haunted bookshop. I was running low, and in desperation, I decided to try to make my own with some blending tobaccos. Not seriously, I just grabbed a handful of red Virginia and a handful of long cut Virginia, half a handful of cube cut burley, and about a quarter handful of granulated perique. So it was not scientific at all. Uh, and the point I was making was that if you know what kind of tobaccos you like in a blend, you can probably come up with something that you'll enjoy smoking. You're not going to match the thing that you're trying to match. It's nothing like one at bookshop, but it's enjoyable, and I can smoke it. Yeah, Doug, I really haven't followed it that closely since the Marquis series came about. I mean, I actually got to meet Russ at I think it was the New York Pipe Show, and I believe it was the year that Black House had come out. Um, and at the time, they still had samples, and he had a big jar, and he told me to try it, and I liked it so much that I bought. In fact, I don't even think he had a tin. I think it was only bulk at the time. So I bought a bag of it, which for me to buy a bag of a Balkan is very unusual, but I did enjoy it. Ron, I trust what you're saying there, but I just cannot smoke a tobacco called meat candy. I also couldn't smoke the Drew Estates meat pie. I just couldn't do that. Okay, so the Sobrani 7. Okay, gotcha, Doug. So I'd probably like the White Knight more. It's probably more of an Oriental Oriental forward, but I do enjoy Black House. For me to there's not many Latakia type blends that I like, and that's one of them. That Maltese Falcon, uh, Cornell and Deal's Constellation. It's the other one that Cornell and Deal makes. It's not Oriental Silk because that's an Oriental. Anyway, yeah, there's a few of them. Uh, oh, Voodoo, you don't even like Yingling. You don't know what you're talking about. We're still pretty early on, and I'm out of tobacco, and I'm also running quite low on beer. So that's one of the problems. This Bongo Fizz goes down easy. I mean, it's basically a soda pop, so it's not surprising it goes down easy. I'm going to, hmm, yeah, I'm going to go with some more on a bookshop in the Matches Memorial pipe again. Ah, Couch is trying the dock worker in a J Mouton. Love it. What do you think of the dock worker, Couch? Yeah, Peter, you should try the Black House. I think you'd like it. And I got to get out the White Knight, Doug, and give that a shot. I've got probably at least 4 or 5 tins of the old Black House. It was still in the tall. Um, I don't know if they're made of paper or not. They're not paper, but the tall tins rather than the wider. Not these. These. They're obviously not made of paper. I don't know why I said that. Haunted Bookshop will fix anything, even this lack of conversation I'm having with myself right now. So I will light this up to stop babbling. Yes, meat pie is a tobacco. No. Oh, tongue bite. Sorry, Couch. That's not a good omen. Eric Massey Jig Company. Good to see Eric. Are those fishing jigs, lures, that sort of thing? Oh, thank you, Ed. Thank you for trying to get us all into heaven. We love you for that. 58 watching and only 6 likes. Oh, well, Gary, I don't mind. It does help. It helps get the word out so that other folks join in the fun, not just here, but across the whole pipe community. So that's why I push it, but I don't care. I just appreciate that 58 people want to take out some time on a Friday evening and spend some time with me. Oh, that is cool, Eric. I'll have to look you up and learn some more about the jigs. And you're a newbie piper. Well, welcome. If you want to learn anything about pipe smoking, you've probably come to the wrong place. But if you're interested in Gilligan's Island, yeah, we got you covered. See, I try to confuse the new folks as much as possible. It's So I saw some fine films this week. Voodoo's got 27 likes on his feed. Well, fantastic. And thank you to those 27 folks. Yeah, the way I've got this working now, I can't even see how many people are watching or what likes are up there or anything. It's easier for me to split. So I've split out the chat and I can make it larger now so I can read it. And yes, Marianne, absolutely, without a doubt, it's Marianne. So where was I going? Lost my train of thought. Oh well, Marianne will do that. Oh, movies I watched. So I've been on this old sci-fi movie kick lately, and I watched two really cool sci-fi movies that I had never seen before. Now these were not great movies. These are one was 40. I'm gonna get the dates wrong, but the late 40s, early 50s. Um, these are not great movies, but if you like this kind of thing, these were cool. The first one was called A Crack in the Earth, and it was just this incredibly goofy story about the scientist that's trying to dig down to the Earth's core to harness the power of magma. and he can't get through the last layer. So he decides that the most obvious thing to do would be to explode a nuclear bomb. Uh, but unfortunately, that winds up leading to a crack in the earth. And yeah, it was a fun movie to watch. The other one I just watched last night was called Magnetic Monsters, and it was Richard Carlson. I'll watch anything that Richard Carlson is in. Uh, a very unusual film. Not unusual in a bad way, just interesting idea for a sci-fi movie. No real monsters. The monster was actually an unusual magnetic element that was going to grow in size and take over the earth. Great stuff though. If you like that kind of sort of campy 50s sci-fi, I recommend both of those. Gary's got out his bent alpha poker with some Captain Kidd. Ron is married and always confused. That makes two of us, Ron. I confuse the old folks too. Sorry about that, Michael. But I'm old and confused, so. Brian Dawkins made brownie tobacco with no tongue bite. Brian, you should probably give up whatever you're doing and become a blender then. Because if you could give me, if you could tell me here's some tobacco that tastes like a brownie and doesn't bite, it would never work because I'm so sensitive to the aromatic components. But man, what a blend that would be. Neil Day, I've heard something about HU being in some kind of an agreement with somebody. And I don't know that means it's coming back to the States, but it's apparently going to be more readily available. Oh, you saw a crack in the earth. Yeah, it was a cool movie, Peter. Yeah, the old Twilight Zones are cool, Eric. They're a lot of fun. I never liked the newer ones. What was the other one that the Outer Limits? I never really got into that, but the Twilight Zones I thought were always really interesting. Ah, that's right. HU merged with K and K. Yes, thank you, Patrick. Yeah, Voodoo, I agree with you for most aromatics, and that's why I don't like them. I get a lot of chemical flavor out of them, but not what they're supposed, not what they smell like ever. The exceptions to that are Autumn Evening. I That tastes like maple to me and continues right to the bottom of the bowl. Um, the Dan Tobacco Honeydew Melon, which I like a lot, and uh, the one that I had last week or last live from my buddy Phil, the Peter Heinrich Grand Cru. That one actually tasted like orange vanilla or maybe strawberry passion fruit. We're not sure which, and it kept that flavor all the way through. But they're rare. They're very rare. Ah, so the Dan made blends will be discontinued, and that includes dock worker. So stock up, couch. Jeffrey Feinberg's asking if I remember Monsters. Was that a movie, Jeffrey? Yeah, I like the old film noir as well, Brian. Okay, so Couch has got past the tongue bite, but he says it's strong stuff so far. So if anybody's into old movies, there's something called the Old Movie app, which sounds very like a really lousy name for something, but it tells you exactly what it is. It's not really that impressive in that for the most part it just kind of collates the YouTube movies, but it's nice to have it in one place where you can just kind of look through them, and it breaks it into categories. So you've got like drama and sorry, sci-fi and horror and stuff like that. And I've seen a lot of good movies on that. One that was very good that I hadn't seen before, I'm surprised I hadn't seen this, was Crime and Punishment with Peter Lorre. Great movie. So Doug says HU is going to be available in the U.S. under an agreement between Kopp, who bought HU, and Cornell and Deal, who will distribute it in the States. And because of that, C&D will be available in Europe, which means it will be even harder for me to get Haunted Bookshop. Fantastic. Thank you, Peter. I will look for that. I'm not familiar with When Time Ran Out, but that sounds like it would be right up my alley. I have to admit, Backcountry Pipes, the HU blends I've tried, I haven't really enjoyed. Uh, I haven't had a lot of them, so I'm not saying that that's generally true, but the couple that I've had, I can't say they were, they just didn't do anything for me. Brian's asking, does anyone know what happened to Kamoy tobacco? I don't. Maybe somebody else does. Oh, it was like Creep Show. Okay, Jeffrey. I don't think I've seen that. I remember Creep Show though. Okay, so the Dan blends will not be discontinued. Um, but I guess that means they won't be available for 2 years in the U.S. through the C&D relationship because Dan will continue the 2 year grace period. You're right, Phil. I don't have the refined palate of those European gents. Oh, so they're blending. Okay. Okay, that's good to know, Doug. I hope. I mean, the way C&D seems to be making Haunted Bookshop, they take whatever components they have left from making their limited releases, and that gets to go into the Haunted Bookshop if there's enough. So if they do the same thing in Europe, maybe that'll just be a drain on the little bit of blending components they have. I'm sorry, I'm being very, very down on C&D right now, but they've done me wrong. Kamoy Cask #2. I think that's the blend that Pipes and Bees convinced me to try, and I really liked it. It was surprisingly good. Yeah, Michael, I think it's lunting, actually. I've heard people use that term. I just always called it walking. I don't know why we need a special term for it. But man, I am definitely in a crotchety old man mood now. I don't know what happened there. I'm picking on Cornell and Deal and Lunters and giving Voodoo crap about his taste in beer. I mean, I apologize. That does sound odd, Phil. That, yeah, champagne and Latakia. I don't get that. Yeah, Doug, they kind of strike me as kind of bland too. Um, Not bad. I mean, the tobacco seemed to be high quality. It just kind of monotone in the flavor profile. And but again, I've only had two or three, so I shouldn't really say that. Good point, Phil. It's probably a side effect of the SOB blend. Yes, Voodoo, I know. You only take Yingling for medicinal purposes. I know. Well, folks, we have hit the 9:30 point here, and I think we've gotten close enough to the bottom of the Bongo Fizz to start to bring this to a close. Again, my recommendations for tonight, Bongo Fizz. If you want to drink a lot of beer in the summertime and don't want to feel it, you definitely might want to get yourself some of this. It's tasty. It's just not beer. Um, and Frenchie's SOB, I'll be burying this in a hole in my yard tomorrow morning. So how's that for ringing endorsements? But while there's still one or two people out there I have not offended tonight, well, Phil, if you always have a pipe and you're walking, then it is walking. But yeah, I get your point. I get your point. All right, guys. So seriously, I'm gonna call this to a close. It's been a little crazy tonight. I'm out of practice, but thank you all for tuning in. I enjoyed it nevertheless. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I will finish this up and go upstairs and probably fall asleep very soon. I'll be back Sunday with a video for you all. So I look forward to seeing you then, and we will be back next Friday with another live stream. So until then, I will finish this up. Wish you all a fantastic weekend and a great week ahead. So have a good one, guys.